Greetings, Terrarians, Khaios here. I'm back. I took a week off from making videos due to a personal emergency, but it's time to get back into the swing of things. I was worried that I'd come back to the channel in shambles after a week, but I was shocked to see that not only was it doing well, it was doing better than it ever has. You all have kept the channel going for the last week by busting out over 100,000 views on my last video. That is absolutely nuts. I could have never imagined that it would have done so well. Not only that, but the channel has grown over 2,500 new subscribers, which I would like to welcome to the channel. Thank you all very, very much for keeping the channel alive during a tough week in my life. I cannot express how much I truly appreciate it. Now, before I jump into the time-lapse build, a lot of people have been asking about my vanity set and my gear. It's easily one of the most frequently asked questions that I receive, so I wanted to address that really quick. I have a few different vanity sets, all of which are doable in game, and this is my main set. I always use the spooky helm just because I really like the way it looks, and it's sort of become a signature of mine. And for this particular set, I'm using the Vortex breastplate because I do like the way that it looks. It's currently being equipped as gear, but if I had another piece of armor on, it would be in the vanity slot. And I'm using Jim's leggings, which are a piece of dev gear that you can get from hard mode expert loot bags. And all of those have been dyed with the green and black dye. Now, beneath that I have Uriser's spell, and that's what gives this glow effect that you see around the eye. And the way this works is, if you put it in a accessory slot or a vanity accessory slot, the higher up it is, the smaller the glow. At the very top there is no eye glow at all, but you'll see the lower that I place it, the bigger that dot gets. And at the very bottom it's actually quite massive. I prefer to keep it in the second accessory slot, so the smallest eye glow. And the way you would change the color on this is you go to your pet dye slot, and you just replace the dye slot for the pet. Now, beneath that, I have Jim's wings, and it's really important to put the wing appearance that you want beneath your Uriser's spell. So you'll see if I take Uriser's spell and I place it where Jim's wings are, and I place Jim's wings up above it, you'll see that I have sparks at my feet. And even if I put Uriser's spell back where it was and I just take Jim's wings off, I still have these sparks coming at my feet. And these are technically wings. Now, I want the eye glow, but I don't want the sparks. And so if I place a set of vanity wings beneath Uriser's spell, it replaces those sparks with the wings. If I place it above Uriser's spell, however, it doesn't quite work that way, and I get the sparks again. So it needs to be placed below Uriser's spell if you want to have both an eye glow and a different set of wings. And in terms of gear, it's pretty straightforward. I got a set of wings, I have a mining helmet to produce light for my builds, and then I just have a toolbox for extended reach, an architect gizmo pack, again for extended reach and speed, and then an Ankh shield for immunity to knockback, but I don't even build with mobs most of the time, so it's not a big deal. And I have a guide voodoo doll for reasons. And that covers my vanity set and the gear that I use for building. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the build. Today I'm going to be doing a Underworld prison build. And the reason why I'm doing that is because on my Discord server I host a poll for what time-lapse build I should be doing every week. And this week, Underworld was voted the highest, so I'm going to be doing an Underworld build. If you guys would like to vote on next week's time-lapse build, be sure to join my Discord server and give it a vote. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description below. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the time-lapse. The first order of business was to save a bunch of time and effort by hopping into TEdit. If you're new to the channel and you're not sure what TEdit is, it's a third-party application that basically acts like Photoshop, but for Terraria. If you're curious about it, I'll leave a link to a tutorial and a beginner's guide to it in the description below. Now, lava is notoriously difficult to work with in Terraria. You can't place blocks directly into it. So I used TEdit to kind of get rid of all of the lava, all of the ash, and to place the ceiling for the build, which is made out of black painted sandstone block. And I just did that to save time and to save effort with having to work with lava. If I were doing this without creative mode aspects to it, I would use sand or gravel or something to help clear out the lava just by making it fall straight into the lava, then logging out and logging back in, and that lava will be deleted. So you can build with lava without having to use buckets or pumps to drain it. It's just a pain in the butt to work with. And so if you're just doing a creative build, I recommend using a cheat sheet mod or TEdit. Once that was done, I went back into game and I sloped the ceiling and I started progressing onto the build itself. Similar to what you saw in the Overworld, the structure is made with mudstone brick painted gray on the walls with some tin plating sandwiched in between the middle. And then across the horizontal beams we have copper plating that's also been painted gray, and that copper and tin plating also make the kind of demonic spiked structures that we see on the ceiling and on the roof. In between certain segments we have crimstone block that's been unpainted just to give a bit of a red glow to it. The floor of the build is going to be made out of green dungeon brick that's been painted gray. And for the bridge, we've got more of the platings. And then beneath that, I wanted to hang some gibbets that are going to be valid NPC houses. They're going to be micro builds. They're really, really small, but they're big enough to house NPCs. So I create a little pit where lava is going to be, and I make the gibbets, which are basically torture cages, if you're not sure what a gibbet is. Now, these are valid NPC houses, even though they don't look like it. So if you're not sure how to make these valid, I'll leave a link to that video, which is my micro build tutorial video, in the description below. So give that a look if you'd like to make really, really tiny NPC houses. Once those are done, I grabbed some more sandstone with black paint and I kind of carved out a pit beneath it and filled it in with some lava. Beneath the build, I have some gray painted blue tiled wall with some copper plating wall as well, just to give it a sort of false foundation. And what I'm doing here with the stone block is there was a patch of lava moss in the tunnel above in the elevator, and I wanted to use that within the build itself, just kind of as a decorative piece. Now, if you place stone block and you use the Staff of Regrowth, it will place moss on top of the stone, and the moss that it selects is the nearest abundance type of moss that is available to it. And in this case, it was going to be something like green moss, which I didn't want. I wanted that lava moss. So I went into the elevator, grabbed a line of stone, and ran it from the lava moss down to the build, and just used the Staff of Regrowth along that stone just to kind of travel the lava moss to the destination that I wanted to use it, and then use the Staff of Regrowth on the moss beneath the build just to give the false foundation segments of the build a splash of color. It also grows a bit of plants under it when it's underground, which adds even more detail. For the background walls, I'm using a blend of gray painted green dungeon wall and some gray painted purple rain wallpaper, that's kind of a tongue twister, and some copper plating wall yet again. For the windows, I'm going to be alternating purple and red stained glass that have been painted shadow. This is a technique that I've seen several builders use that I really like the way that it looks. When you shadow paint some stained glass, it almost looks like it's not there, but it is there. It's just a bit of a dark tint. And I alternated between the purple and red just so we can get fine lines in between each of the panes of glass. Then around the windows, I used some gray painted ebonstone brick to just kind of give a frame and make them pop out even more. After that, I hung some chains from the ceiling and placed some bone blocks, singular bone blocks, beneath each of the chain. So whenever you place a single bone block, it always comes out to look like a skull, which could be a fantastic decoration piece. Unfortunately, it is a solid block, so you can't use it very often on things like tabletops. It doesn't make for a great decoration unless you actuate it, but if you actuate it, it's a little too dark to use as a skull, so it's up to you, but bone block does make for a fantastic placeable skull. Once the main prison was done, I wanted to move on to kind of two segments of hanging prisons, which are done with giant chains. The chains themselves are made out of gray painted dynasty wood alternating with rich mahogany. The dynasty wood is on the sides and the rich mahogany is running down the center. The reason why I do it like this is dynasty wood is a little bit darker, and that makes it look like the chain is further into the background, while rich mahogany is a little bit brighter, which makes it look like it's a little bit closer. And once you've hammered the dynasty wood to a slope, it also has a texture to make it look like it's actually bending into the chain link above it. So in my opinion, those are the two best materials to use for giant chain links. After I set up the chains, I created a small little box prison, and then I just used CheatSheet to save some time because I was running quite a bit short on time. I try to allot myself only around 3 hours for these time-lapse builds, because if I go any longer than that, then it becomes really too hard for you guys to see what's going on. So I used CheatSheet to copy that build onto the other side just to save a bit of time. Then underneath them, I'm going to hang a couple of more gibbets just so we can have some more valid NPC houses. And this world will be available for download in the description, so if you'd like to download it and use it for yourself, you are more than welcome to. Then I'm going back into TEdit one last time to fill in the floor, which is going to be more of the sandstone painted black, just to look similar to the roof. Then back in game, I'm going to shape it with a hammer, place some gray painted living leaf wall because it really matches with the stone quite well. Then I'm going to place some more lava moss and some pools of lava, some streams of lava, and some lava drips just to complete everything up. And that's going to do it for today's time-lapse build. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and a comment. It really helps me out. And I just wanted to give one last thank you to all of the new subscribers and viewers on the channel, and an even bigger thank you to everybody that's been here from the start. I couldn't have done this without all of you, and I really do appreciate you guys helping me grow this channel. Thank you very much. I'll catch you all later. Happy building.